Located on the same square where the Bernini's elephant and obelisk sculpture erects, the Basilica of Saint Mary of Minerva holds a lot of interesting gems inside. Consider this the finest example of Gothic architecture in Rome. If you already listened to my videos on art in Italy, you might recognize the defining features of Gothic styles, which includes pointed arches and a structure designed to propel your gaze towards the heavens. As you step in the church, you're captured by the deep blue ceiling, adorned with gold stars. It's truly mesmerizing, and it gives you a sense of connection with something beyond the natural world. In this basilica lies Saint Catherine of Siena, a woman of extraordinary faith, passion, and courage. She lived in the 14th century and, from a young age, claimed to have visions of Christ, who guided her throughout her life. Her faith was so strong and unwavering that even popes and high-ranking church leaders sought her counsel. Just think that she even persuaded Pope Gregory XI to return the papacy to Rome from its exiles in France. Today, pilgrims from around the world come to honor her earthly remains, drawn by the strength of her devotion and seeking inspiration, guidance, and grace. Around her marble tomb, you will often find hundreds of handwritten messages and prayers asked by pilgrims every day. The second gem I'm going to talk about is Michelangelo's Risen Christ. One of the beauties of Michelangelo's work is that his statues seem to speak to you. Their facial expressions convey 1,000 words. In this statue, Christ's face is calm and serene, and his posture remains upright despite bearing the burden of the cross, symbolizing his victory over death and the triumph of resurrection. This is actually the second version of the risen Christ that Michelangelo created. During the sculpting of the first version, as he worked on the face, he discovered a black vein running across Christ's left cheek. Although the commissioner tried to persuade Michelangelo to continue his work, assuring him he would accept the flaw, Michelangelo refused. His perfectionism would not allow him to leave it flawed. Instead, he started a new statue, which is the one that you can see in this church. The original flawed statue still exists and is displayed in another church outside Rome. Also, the Christ was meant to be totally naked by Bernini, but later a bronze drape was added to cover his lower body to conform to the modesty standards of the time. Now, we all know that in history there have been popes who contributed to the growth of the art and human development, and others that have led their papacies with rigid doctrines and a lack of artistic and intellectual progress. This church houses the tombs of these two opposite spiritual figures. I'm talking about Pope Leo X, who was the son of the famous Lorenzo de' Medici, nicknamed Lorenzo the Magnificent, and Pope Paul IV. The first, Leo X, was a patron of the arts and supported artists like Raphael and Michelangelo. He was beloved by many, but we know that nobody's perfect. His lavish spending to fund the arts and the construction of the St. Peter's Cathedral drew him some criticism. I am referring here to the sales of the indulgences that were introduced by him during his papacy. The other pope, Paul IV, on the other hand, was a figure not beloved by the people. Known for the harsh enforcement of the Roman Inquisition and the creation of the Index of Forbidden Books. Just think that the literary work of famous people like Martin Luther, Galileo Galilei, Niccolò Machiavelli, and many others during his papacy and later on were on this forbidden list. His papacy was so unpopular that at his death, people tore down his statue and dragged it through the streets of Rome before throwing it into the Tiber River. People also looted and burned the buildings that were associated with the Roman Inquisition.